find the solutions to, in this case, a quadratic equation. So with quadratic equations, it's important to move all of the information over to one side of the equality, the equal sign, so that way we can use the zero product property. So in order to work with this first equation on the left, I'm going to add 20y to both sides of the equation, yielding 4y squared plus 20y plus 25 equals to 0. Okay, now there's many different techniques you can use to try to factor or find the solutions to a quadratic. One that I like to use when I see that this is a perfect square and this is a perfect square is I like to take a shot to see if this is a perfect square trinomial. And the way that you would go about doing this would be to take the 4y squared and take its square root, take the 25 and take its square root. It's a plus sign because of the plus right here that's in the middle, and hope that this equals 0. And the way to check to see if it equals 0, or if this, not that it equals 0, but that this is a correct factoring, is to imagine what you would get if you took 2y times 5, which of course would be 10y, and then doubling it would give you the 20y. And the reason why this technique works is because we know that a plus b squared, the perfect square of a binomial, is a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. And so that doubling of the ab means that this does indeed factor. And so the only solution we end up getting out of here would be the solution to 2y plus 5 equals 0, which would just be y equals negative 5 halves. So over here on the left one, we only have one solution, y equals negative 5 halves. Okay, let's go over to the right. Now on the right hand side we have 3v squared minus 10v minus 3. So we'll start off with the same approach. Add 10v, add 3, add 10v, add 3. So we have 3v squared plus 10v plus 3 equals to 0. Okay, now this one's definitely not a perfect square trinomial, right, because we do not have a square root of 3 and 3, or not an integer square root of 3 anyway. So this is a technique that one of my students showed me actually, is they ask what the adding number is. The adding number is the number that is the coefficient to the linear term, that's a 10, and then the multiply number is going to be the product of the front and the back, and 3 times 3 is 9. And what's neat about that is that you just need to concentrate on what two numbers can you think of that multiply to 9 and add to 10, and that's of course the numbers 1 and 9, because 1 times 9 is 9 and 1 plus 9 is 10, which would indicate that the factoring would come out to look like v plus 1 and v plus 9 due to the 1 and the 9. Now recall when we figured out this multiply number, I had to multiply by 3. So what we do in order to correct that multiplication is we divide those solutions by 3. Notice that 9 over 3 is actually the same as just 3. So this is actually a factoring of v plus 1/3, which if we multiply through by 3 becomes the factor 3v plus 1. And 9 over 3 is just 3, so we get v plus 3 equals 0. And now the zero product property would simply indicate that v equals negative 1/3 or negative 3. Okay? Now, there's many other ways to factor these. One is the sort of guess and check method, or what I like to call the prayer method, right, where you hope that you can find the factoring. Quadratic formula doesn't involve any prayer, but involves a little bit more arithmetic in it. But why don't you use whatever technique you can think of or you desire to solve this problem? Try doing 30x equals 9x squared plus 25. And assuming you paused and tried it on your own here, together we will subtract 30x from both sides. So 0 equals 9x squared minus 30x plus 25. Notice perfect square and perfect square. So I'm going to give it a shot. The square root of 9x squared is 3x. The square root of 25 is 5. And due to the minus sign, I'm going to put a minus there. And let's see what we get if we take 3x times 5. 3x times 5 is 15x. Doubled, if we multiply that by 2, we get 30x, and that's a check mark for what's in the middle. So this is a correct factoring, and therefore our only solution would be the solution to 3x minus 5 equals 0, which of course would be x equals positive 5 thirds. So the only solution is x equals 5 thirds.